end-of-life concerns. Most IT departments replace their workstations, servers, and phones regularly in a replacement cycle. OS updates or warranty ends. These can be serious consequences associated with using software that has reached its end of life, which can mean the end of support from a vendor or the end of the software's usefulness. Some of these consequences are here. Security threats. The operating system becomes far more vulnerable to security threats. Second, software incompatibility. Software vendors often cannot guarantee that new applications will be compatible with older operating systems. Compliance issues. Regulated industries such as healthcare and e-commerce deal with sensitive data. It is dangerous to entrust critical information to an outdated and possibly to insecure systems. Operating costs. It costs a lot to maintain and fix bugs in unsupported software. For example, paying to a company to patch an operating system that has reached its end of life can exceed the price of updating to a new system. Performance and reliability. Software, as it ages, can grow slow or fail to always perform as expected. Also, normally, old software is installed to old hardware, which is prone to breaking down. Update concerns. While there are many excellent reasons to update an operating system that has reached its end of life, the process of updating may cause problems. Those who have been through the process before face the task of updating with an anxiety and concern. Why? Some potential problems are listed here, with possible solutions or ways to avoid the problems. First, insufficient hardware. Normally, a new operating system requires better hardware than the previous version. Hardware requirements should be checked before doing an upgrade. Insufficient hardware may cause a new operating system to run slowly. Often, a fast processor and more memory are required, but other components may also need to be upgraded. Some errors and freezes. Such problems could be caused by insufficient disk space, RAM or drivers. Drivers. They often cause trouble related to operating system upgrades. Unfortunately, sometimes vendors don't update their drivers to work with the newest systems, and this may mean that you need to buy a new card or other component. Application incompatibilities. There are some workarounds that can be tried to get an older application to work with a new operating system, but sometimes the best course of action is to upgrade the application to a compatible version. Data loss. Data loss can be tragic, but it is the most preventable of all possible problems. User data should be stored on a different partition or physical hard disk or on a different server or in the cloud and backed up regularly. Compatibility concerns. Computers are considered compatible if software that runs on one of the models can run on all of the other models in that family, even if that software differs in performance, reliability, or some other feature. Hardware compatibility means that some components, such as a RAM chip, can be used on various models. One consideration is related to 32-bit versus 64-bit systems. Most new systems today include processors based on a 64-bit architecture. These systems are compatible with 32-bit operating systems and 32-bit applications, but the converse is not true. 32-bit hardware cannot support 64-bit operating systems and applications. While there are many benefits to a 64-bit systems, there are too many concerns, and it's important to understand there are differences to be aware of. Which system are you dealing with? Software compatibility can refer to whether a practical application must be used with a specific CPU architecture, such as Intel. It can also refer to the ability of software to run on one or more operating systems or version of operating systems. When purchasing software, it is important to consider compatibility. Sometimes even upgrading software you are already running can cause incompatibility issues. Software releases for newer versions of an operating system may not work or may not work as expected on older version of the same operating system. Forward compatibility, also known as upward compatibility. It is designed by the software manufacturer. It means that a system should be able to accept input intended for a later version and is meant to allow older devices to recognize when data has been generated for new devices. An application that has been designed with forward compatibility usually also has backward compatibility, which means the new system can still process data from the older software. Software with both forward and backward compatibility is not the same as software that is extensible. A forward compatible system only means that software is able to process some of the data from a new version of itself. But an extensible system or extensible software can be upgraded easily. Because of the nature of operating systems, software is never completely compatible between different operating systems. While there are rarely file type incompatibility issues between Mac OS and Windows, applications are not compatible across these operating systems. A file type is commonly defined by the application that created it or the type of application that can open the file. For example, a text file which ends with txt is a file that doesn't have any special formatting and can be opened with Microsoft Word, WordPerfect, Notepad, WordPad, and a big variety of other applications. The bottom line is that software must be chosen for a specific operating system. Computers can have more than one operating system installed. By dividing the hard drive into multiple sections, it is possible to use a dual boot system. For example, when a Mac hard drive is partitioned, Windows runs on one partition and Mac on the other. With this type of setup, you would have to buy Windows-compatible software for the Windows partition and Apple-compatible software for the Apple partition. The thing that must be considered when using a dual boot system is what happens with the data. Luckily, most of the file types are compatible both with macOS and Windows. However, sharing folders may result in some issues since macOS and Windows deal with folders differently.